You're listening to Any Observation, the best NFT, crypto, and gaming podcast ever. With your host, Anders Bjork.
And now they can actually see us, and I will actually do this first, and we have the wrong name. You're Anders right now, but I will fix that too. Yeah, I had just before I went live today, I updated a bunch of drivers everywhere to try to fix some things, and it created some problems. And yeah, always a good idea to go and update all your video drivers and audio drivers and apparels right before you go live. Always a good idea.
Come prepared.
Yeah. So today we have a special guest. We have Anders. That's you right now on screen, or Larcey.
Hi, Larcey.
It's one of them. So how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah. A lot of things to do, but before this, I was in 5 separate meetings. So I started the day with like ongoing calls, but now it's great.
Yeah, it's always good to have a lot of meetings. I've had a very busy day. It's 9 p.m. right now, and I've had a long, nice day filled with cool things.
I can imagine.
And actually, I hear also in the background that I still have something that I need to quickly turn off, because I have my relaxing meditation music in the background. I'm not sure that I can share that on stream. That's very nice though. Yeah, so that's what happened when you update drivers and things just before you go live. So today we have Larcey here, and we are here to talk about the Wax Ambassador program. And Larcey, and I don't really know where to start today. A lot of people have seen a lot of coordinated pushes for content surrounding Wax projects, and I guess. Let's start with that. What is the Ambassador program for you? What is it?
So the Ambassador program, the way I see it, is a way for content creators and influencers and community leaders to have access to information and just learning more about Wax in general. And then also the games in Wax. So we thought of it as, hey, if you want to cover Wax, what better way to do it than us supporting that? We'll provide you with an overview of certain projects. We'll give you some NFTs to try out games that you're interested in, and then you get to build your content based off of that. We'll even send you, videos that come with the brief. So when you make a content, you don't really have to scramble and go edit and create some stuff on Photoshop just to make that happen. So it really eliminates that time to do it, but it's also a way to make it easier for you to learn more. So it's more of an educational tool and support than anything.
And you, in this case, is content creators. People creating some kind of content, or what's the idea?
Yes, so influencers are also a huge part of it. So for me, it's being able to support people promoting the blockchain. So the best way to do that, obviously, is for more information to be found outside of just like the blockchain. So YouTube, like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even. So those platforms would be one of the ways where if I'm a person who's interested in blockchain and I want to find out games that I feel might be interesting, then if there's more information out there about these games, and we're doing it in a way where it's more coordinated, then it's easier for everyone just to get that information and be able to opt in when they want to.
And you're new to the Wax ecosystem. Compared to me, you're very new. I've been here from the start.
You're the boss.
So why do you think we needed this program?
I come from a gaming background. So before this, I did esports and gaming. And being in that space helped me understand that there's a need for paying attention to what the community is doing and being able to support that community. So when I came in, I saw that Wax already had a robust community, but there's some gaps in there that I felt like having this type of program could really help solve. So access to information, most of all, but also being able to make ourselves available for any feedback. And that's something that I also kind of took on, like it's, as he said, it's a two-way communication where if I am somebody in the community that feels like there's ways that you can improve the ecosystem, or there's an initiative that I feel like Wax could benefit from, then you can put that out there. You can let us know, and that's something that I feel like could only help the community overall, like being able to have a way to direct that feedback to.
Yeah, and so as a disclosure, I'm part of the ambassador program. As a disclosure, and some people think that being part of a program like this means that you are telling me what to do, what I can say, what I can't say, how I say it, what I support, what I don't support. How does that work?
First of all, that's a myth. It's not true. I mean, you should know. The way that we do it is we present campaigns to the ambassadors who are in the program. And at that point, they are free to decide whether or not they want to opt into that campaign. And we present them the brief. It's an overview about the game. We don't talk about ROI. We don't talk about, hey, you should only say good things. It's your content. So we feel like content creators and influencers should have the freedom to communicate to their audience however they want. Like, they know what their audiences are looking for. Like, you guys know what you wanna see in a game or a project. So above anything, we leave that to your hands to make that decision.
Yeah, and I said that. Try to get you to answer that question because no one has told me what I can or cannot say, and if you try to do that, I would probably do the opposite. I was
as it should.
Yeah, and I was at one point going to frequently, and when we want to get something out, you have to post that, and then I said fuck off, and I never joined that because for me, like, selling me my opinion in that way would not, like, I couldn't stand for what I'm saying. I couldn't stand for what I'm doing if I joined a program that tried to control me in that way. I might be a little bit crazy, but I think a bunch of people see it the same way.
100%. I mean, we want you to make informed decisions, and I've been saying that constantly. Like, you as content creators have that responsibility to be legitimate and truthful in what you're saying to your audience. Like, they subscribe to you because they agree with most of what you're saying. But if you start being inauthentic, like if you start promoting projects that have no weight, or if you start saying things that are untrue, your audience is going to pick up on that pretty quickly, and they are quick to call out on such things. Like, they know better. So I'd like to think that right now, the audiences are much more, critical of the things that are being put out there, as they should.
Yeah, it is very important that we have open and honest people talking about these things. So yeah, and I the reason why I went into these topics is because we have seen that in the past on social media, there has been people openly trying to say that the Wax Ambassador program is a control program where you kind of build a paid bot army of content creators to push your agenda and basically trick people to get to scam them. I think one person actually tried to put it that far.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's like it was very important to try to disclose that information from the start, that the Wax Ambassador program is not about controlling what we say or how we do it, or hey, you have to support this or you're out. It's very open, which is very nice.
And truthfully, it's very easy to make speculations right now because we did not have like a landing page set up. We don't have like an official document or an information that's out there. And the reason for that is because we currently the ambassador program is still in its pilot stages. So when we started it out, we had no idea that it was going to spread as quickly as it did. And when it did, people just started making some assumptions based on what they understand based on the word ambassador. And that is valid. I do get why some people would think that way. And so the difference in, I think there's a disconnect right now in what some people think the ambassador program is and what it actually is and what it should be. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Is that something that you are working on trying to get out in a better way before people make their own ideas of what it is?
Definitely. I mean, we're working on setting up the landing page with all of the information and then having a form that content creators can fill up coming into the program if they're interested. There's also some, some assumptions that, hey, these people are not worth being in the program. Like, why did you pick some people as an ambassador over some? So the answer to that is because we're doing a mixture of different things, right? Like, we want to spread it out to as many communities in and out of Wax as we can. And so to do that, there needs to be a very diverse group of content creators getting into the program. There are different markets that we haven't really tapped into yet. There are different countries that we haven't even tapped into yet. And so through the ambassador program, we wanted to make the information accessible to these audiences and help with that discovery. So I think, while I understand what the reasoning is behind why some people would think, okay, these guys are not worthy, I want to push back and say, well, who's to say who's worthy or who's not? I admit that in its early stages, we haven't been able to fully vet some of the people that were coming in, because for us, the idea behind it is we want to give access to as many people. And so in doing that,
if we stop there,
go ahead.
What is access?
Getting into the program, basically. So we were looking initially at 3 different tiers: bronze, silver, and gold. When you would come in, some of the people from outside the chain, they would come in as bronze. And so some people assume that, okay, you're an ambassador, you're getting all of these free things, you're exploiting the program. But truthfully, out of the many ambassadors that are currently listed, I think there's over 100 now. I would say there's only a small percentage of people that actually found to do that. And when we do find that out, we call that out pretty quickly. I mean, everyone in the ambassador program does a really good job at identifying each other, and because it reflects the entire program when somebody does something like that. And so we've started implementing a bunch of changes with the way we're vetting people coming into the ambassador group. And we've also done a significant amount of collecting feedback from existing ambassadors about what they think or what their suggestions are. So from the initial intent, creating the ambassador program. I'd say that it's now evolved to a point where more people are starting to look at it, and more people are starting to like really weigh in on what it's about. So we know that that holds a lot of we hold a lot of responsibility for it. And so we try our best to make sure that while, yes, we are open to bringing more content creators that are not necessarily in Wax into the program, but we won't do that at the expense of the existing community that has been with us for years.
Yeah, and the way I see the ambassador program is just the effective two-way communication between content creators and Wax. But on top of that is also a way for content creators to meet and discuss things with other content creators. I see pretty frequently in the Discord room where people say, hey, I'm looking at this project. Is there someone else that had dig into it before? Try to get this information from each other, by each other. And sure, well, it could be bad if everyone just relies on everyone else, but that's not how it is. It's sharing and trying to grow on the information one gather and try to add what someone else gathered and make something cooler. And sure, some people just take the information they get and they create something and they don't reflect, they don't think, but that's their content and people can choose to follow them if they like their opinions or information they get out and everything. Or they can choose to ignore it. And I don't think that changes with joining or not joining the program. So from my side, it helps me because I'm a very busy person, and I can go in and I can get a lot of information breaking down that I can take then and then dig into more.
Definitely. And, about that, obviously, there's so many different projects that exist today, and it does help to get more context, especially for new influencers or new community leaders or content creators getting into the ambassador program. Like, some of them may not be 100% knowledgeable about everything that's happening in the chain. I don't think anybody can really say that they 100% know everything that's going on, but there are notable ambassadors that are in that group that have contributed so much in giving that context, like providing that information to these other ambassadors to help inform their choices and to help give them additional information that they may otherwise not be able to know.
Yeah, that's good. And okay, so that's a quick breakdown of what the ambassador program is, and that is a two-way communication. It's a lot of discussions and shared information. So I'm a project, I'm launching on Wax, or I'm working on a Wax, I'm building something, and I have issues reaching all of these creators. I don't know where they are, I don't know how to reach them. Can they reach out to you in some way and to try to get some kind of benefit from this community?
Yeah, I mean, projects can do pretty much whatever they want. This is permissionless. We're a decentralized platform. So if they wanted to, they can reach out and say, hey, we want to work with the ambassadors, as have some of these projects have done already. So we've worked with other game projects. For example, we've done some work with RotaQuest. We've done some work with Million on Mars, Colonize Mars right now, and then Taco Swap, and just many more different projects. So I've seen that there's some assumptions from other people that we're just promoting Wax Studios projects, when that's not really the case. Like, we're always open to doing that, although we do have in our own way some vetting processes just to make sure that we're also protecting the ambassadors. At the end of the day, even if it is their choice, we want to make sure that we're also helping with that. And so an example is who's the team? Are they completely doxxed? Is there like a history in there of questionable projects that they were involved in? Just some of the things that we're also looking at.
And is that like the vetting process? Is that a final thing, or is that something you will continue to work on as you grow, or what's the idea? And also, how long does it take for a project to get vetted?
I would say that's it really depends. Like some of them would approach whenever there's a new sale coming up, and we try to pace it out so we're not overwhelming ambassadors with information. Like if it's already fully booked for that point in time, then we try to, okay, we'll see if we can push it back another week or two. But each week we always have something for ambassadors to learn about. So there's always new campaigns that we're doing. This week we have Taco Swap. Like they put out a brief in there that I've just started sharing, but we're not forcing project developers to work with us. Like in their own way, they've been able to market their own games and they've been able to reach out to whoever they want. And so it's not saying that, hey, you should only do things through the ambassador program. That's not the case at all.
No, but it's a lot of work to reach content creators and try to give them the all information they need and everything. So it can probably be very beneficial to reach a lot of people. The benefit of reaching out to one content creator is that you know what you get, you know what type of content you get, but it's also good to reach a lot of new people that you would otherwise not reach.
I agree, and to some extent, the other project developers, they see that, and so they've reached out to us and say, hey, we want to work with you, and I'm open to it. I'm always open to it. If they're not selected, then we kind of let them know, hey, your game's not out yet. It's not a good idea to promote something that's not out there yet. So we communicate with these other project developers and also make some suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's their campaign. Like they can decide the information that goes out, what their rewards are going to be. So ultimately, like my intent is to have it be set up in the landing page in such a way that even project developers would be able to get that information about how to work with ambassadors.
That's cool. So okay, now projects know how to do this or what they do. Where do they reach you? Is it on Twitter or Discord? Where are you?
So we're still there's two emails that I can give: partnerships@wax.io, and then there's also marketing@wax.io. We've gotten several requests for both joining the ambassador program and being able to promote through the Wax ambassador program. So right now, those are the two emails. But again, pretty soon we'll have the landing page set up so that it will be much easier moving forward how to get into it.
Yeah, that's cool. And you said before that you worked you were in gaming before you got here. What did you do there?
I started as a volunteer article writer. Just writing about games and writing about tournaments like esports. And then from there, I got into partnerships as well, where I was talking to some influencers and building communities. And then I started doing brand partnerships. So, companies like Kellogg's, for example. Those are some of the clients that we've worked with in the past. But this was all sort of from the game perspective. And I've been in the industry for about close to 10 years now.
Yeah, that's cool. So you were working on this partnership before in that industry, and that, I guess, is helping you here as well. And since you have new eyes into Wax, you joined in the company in the bull market, and now it's a bear market, and the atmosphere in communities, in chats, on Twitter and everything changes. People go from being energetic and positive for everything to starting to be they are criticizing pretty much everything. How is that for you, and have you experienced that before in the gaming world?
I would say that it's true for each industry. Wherever you are, there's always going to be some positive and negative. You're never going to please everybody, and right now, especially in blockchain, where there are there's money involved and there's investments and there's livelihoods that are involved, you can definitely understand why there's like the emotions are higher at this point in time, and you see that kind of change in the bull market where people are just really happy and they're free to part with their money, whereas now they're just, okay, these companies, they're just scamming us, like there's a big difference though. And in gaming, I would say that a lot for games that don't do a lot of updates, like if you create a game and then there's no updates and there's constant bugs, then you're going to expect that the community will react to it and they will have strong opinions. And with the communities in gaming in general, we see that they're very passionate and are able to create their own content, and it sort of takes a life on its own. Some communities will build their own tournaments, like they would build their own mini projects or mini games within a game. And that's one of the coolest things about it. And I feel like in those ways, the blockchain space is similar to that. Like you put together a community and you take care of that community, and when you see them thrive, it's going to do wonders to the whole space.
Yeah, I mean, Dota is built inside Warcraft 3. So
exactly.
I mean, that someone created a game called Warcraft 3.
Legends, right?
And then suddenly they create, yeah, exactly, Dota in that game, and the developers creating that game did not expect that. And I guess that's similar to creating the Wax blockchain, and then suddenly there will be a lot of projects created, and some you expected and some you did not expect.
Exactly. And just when you think that everything, somebody is going to come up and say, oh, here's a new concept, and then everyone's like, oh, why didn't I think of that before? I remember with Dota, because I play a lot of Dota, and
how much?
A lot.
Too much?
Maybe not as much as I want to anymore,
okay.
With the whole time. But when Auto Chess came out, Auto Chess is this like strategy game that's sort of like an arcade game within Dota 2. Everyone thought, okay, that's the next big thing, and to the point where there are more Dota Auto Chess players than actual Dota. And from there, you get like the League of Legends came out with its own sort of similar game format, and you just kind of see that take off from there. And it's amazing to see what the community is capable of doing, and I believe in that 100%. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. So I played a lot of Dota, both on Warcraft 3 and then also Dota 2 and Heroes of New Earth and everything. I have never played LOL. It's
me neither.
I don't know, it doesn't attract me. But yeah, when you play,
they say it's a tutorial mode, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Don't hate me, League of Legends players.
Exactly, like there's a camp of MOBA gamers. You either hate it or you love it. And when you play Dota, do you prefer to have a special role when you play?
I play support, so I play hard support. There's a huge demand for that. Like some people, they're more, hey, give me carry, give me mid laner. Like, I want in on the action. But for me, I think support players, if they're really good, they can make or break the game. You can't farm up, you can't advance late game if you don't have a decent support player, or if your support player is feeding, then you just get auto lose, is what I say.
Yeah, I haven't played Dota a lot for a long time, but I love to play Shen, where you get there's
a micro, because you're controlling all of the neutral.
Exactly, like I'm controlling a lot of different characters, and it's a support guy, but it's also requires a lot of focus and doing a lot of things. But I used to play a lot of StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, so
micro.
Yeah, micromanagement is really fun to do in games, I guess. So yeah, and we had a question before from the chat. So which esports did you or have you been involved in some way or?
So I work mostly with publications. So I worked with Daily Esports TV, which is now Upcomer. And then I also worked with Gosu Gamers and also mogul.gg, which is a tournament platform.
So how was it working with tournaments?
Tournaments are they're much more volatile than you can imagine. There's a lot of players that complain a lot. Things such as, hey, you have to check in on time. They don't check in on time, and then they're mad. My internet dropped. You're supposed to wait for me when my internet drops. And there's even the rules. You put a really long list of rules that people should abide by, and nobody really reads it because it's too long of a text to bother. And they're going to ask you questions anyway, even if it's in the rules. So what's fun about it, though, is you can it's a good way to meet people, but also it's a good way to be better at a game. Like if you want to be competitive, you get some rewards along the way. So it's fun. You can team up with your friends. You can meet people to queue up with. So I like that part of it.
Yeah, and I can relate to the stress because I was hosting a tournament in Forge Arena earlier this year. And it was so much management, and without Dafo and the other people that helped, I would have been doomed that time. It was so much work.
They will try to work around any rule set that you make. Like, what if it's like 0.2 seconds, or there's a lot of people in there that will just try to get everything and take it to their advantage.
Yeah.
Part of the game, I would say.
Yeah, and that happened in many ways. But yeah, that's surely part of it. Yeah. So, new in Wax, what was your first impression, and were you new into cryptocurrency as well, or is that something you have been playing with?
I've been looking at crypto for a while, NFTs too, but I've always kind of thought when play to earn gaming came out, I was like, what is this? Like I personally didn't think it was the best games ever. Like not something that I would want to play personally, but I kind of saw that as this is just a beginning. This is what it could be. And so when I was offered the role, I jumped at it because I felt like this is the next best thing. Like this is the future that we're looking at right now. And there's so many possibilities. There's so many ways that you can go. There's so many different games that could benefit from having that blockchain, that NFT element tied to them. And so when I came in, I saw that as an opportunity to learn and really get into this new industry. And my first thought, it was intimidating. Like maybe everyone starts at something, and for me, I was intimidated. Like when they onboarded me on Wax, they sent me all of these like videos and articles that I need to learn, and I was looking at it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like, do I need to read this? And it took me a while to digest everything. And at one point, I was just kind of looking blankly at the video, and there wasn't, I was like, okay, fully overloaded. But William Quigley specifically, like when I saw one of his interviews, that got me really excited because he was talking about the future. He was talking about where he's seeing it to be, and that got me thinking like, oh my gosh, to think that this is happening right now and at a much faster pace than it did in the past. Like that inspired me, and I felt like, okay, I want to be able to be in this industry where I can contribute and kind of take what I learned from my experience in gaming into this, because I see a lot of similar, like patterns and behaviors that I definitely felt like, okay, we need to take care of the community more, and we need to do something like be able to market it out. And so that was my two main things that I wanted to do with the program.
Yeah. So why are we not the most famous blockchain in the world yet? Now, I'm just kidding. But okay, so you're in the gaming space, and a big portion of the gaming space is highly anti everything that is NFTs. They see it as a money grab. They see it as a scam. Because what they see is the big ticket items on OpenSea. They see influencers selling for millions of dollars and offering no value, and they think that is what NFTs is. And they see some game that is horrible. They see the metaverses and the gameplay is non-existent, and at best it looks like a game that is 15 years old. So it just looks like a big scam and shit, and people throw money into it. And what's your take on that? Because a big portion of the big gaming industry is in that field.
Look, it's very complex, right? Like, I don't think I can answer that in one straight, like one sentence response. But for starters, I think that we are early. Like some of the games that are coming out, they're not really, they can't compare to mainstream games. But I feel like so much negativity from that industry is from a place of not really understanding what it's about. Like they make their opinions, and the bad news that are coming out, the scams, like bad actors taking advantage, like that's not really helping more people adapt to it better.
Yeah.
But these are growing pains. This is the same way they treated mobile gaming. When it first came out, they're like, games in here are crap, like they're not good, and this is a fad that's not going anywhere. You can't support a big game. But then there's a market for it. Like people who are at work, they're able to play casually. Your mom plays Candy Crush, like it's gotten to a point where it's now billion-dollar industry. And in the beginning, you can imagine all of the FUD, all of the hate that people had against it. And to be fair, the games are not they're not high quality, but slowly you're seeing that change.
Yeah.
Before, I would say we were still in the 1980s, like arcade games, clickers, like mining games. But now you see more and more games come out, and AAA games, we all know that takes some time before those get built. But when it does, more people are going to see it. And I don't see what the harm is in true ownership of digital assets. Like, I think that's the game changer.
Yeah, I agree. and like, okay, so we do see some nice indie level games. There are some particularly first person shooters, and card games has started to grow. And I think we will see way more of that coming. We have a few of them on Wax. I mean, Forge Arena is probably the one with the best gameplay and most like a real game for a gamer. But then also a big portion of the community that are in crypto and that are in NFTs are not necessarily hardcore gamers. They might not actually look for the AAA game yet, but actually they like the web-based strategy clicker game where you have a multi-level system and not just go and click and then do nothing and click, but where you actually have some strategy and gameplay into it. I think a lot of people might still be in that place.
And that's true, and that speaks to the diversity of the current market. Like you're gonna find an audience for just about anything. Like we have, for me personally, like I like MOBA genre games, but I'm not really that big on FPS. So I think it's similar to play to earn. There's going to be different types of games. There's going to be casual games. There's going to be first person shooters. There's going to be MMORPGs. There's going to be puzzles. Like there's going to be a whole different genre of games that will come out in play to earn, and that's going to attract its own market, and that's okay. Like you can't really judge other people by the way they think right now, like, hey, it should be giving me a huge amount of ROI, because that's how they learned about the blockchain. Like that's their mindset. And not to say that my thinking is better than your thinking, or eventually, you're going to change your mind. I mean, who knows, right? But embracing that diversity, I've always said that the sooner you realize that you're not gonna market to everyone, you're not gonna market to the entire blockchain chain, but if you do know your market, like if you do know the kind of audience that you want to attract, then that's also gonna go a long way.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because a lot of projects are launching and they are aiming at a community that is far away, but all their content is created towards the community that is here. I mean, that might be good. You might reach new people and you might be very successful in that. Look at Alien Worlds. They were a very small indie thing, and then suddenly they just reach all eyes, and they have had a scaling issue ever since, and have been had to pull back and just focus on handling the scale that happened, which created a bunch of other issues. But yeah, it's very interesting.
It's so interesting. And I mean, just think of the gaming mindset, right? Like gamers would generally not mind spending $30-$60 to buy a game, knowing that that money's gone forever, but they do get to enjoy that game.
Yep.
So these days you invest in a game, but if it's not to your expectation, of course you'd have a lot to say. But pretty soon there's going to be a bridge that kind of connects both of that, in a way where when you buy a play to earn game, you like that game, so you're okay with the money that you'll spend in that game. But what's different here is that you have your skins, you have your like your NFTs that you really own. Whereas with a game, when that game shuts down, what happens to your skins? Like what happens to your character? Like that's goodbye. And I've heard so many games also shut down. So many RPGs, for example, they've shut down. There's always a new game coming out every year or so, and there's always something new. But if your ownership of those items that you get from those games are still there, it's still in your wallet, it's still something that you can display, then that's a good thing to have. And I like that concept, because who wants to like not be able to control that? When I like cosmetics, like I would buy skins, I would buy I would buy sets, we call it in Dota 2. And my thinking is, like if the game shuts down, all of the money I spent buying those skins, like they're not there anymore, like they're just gone.
Yep.
You can't transfer it anywhere. If I wanted, you can't do anything to it. It's just there.
Yeah, and even some of the games today, you don't really run anything locally. You just connect to a launcher and then to a server far away. And if the game is not popular, they might shut them down. Wasn't it Ubisoft that recently said, hey, we are not going to support all these games, and some of them were actually pretty new? And then you have nothing. I mean, sure, it might not be awesome to just have a few NFTs in your inventory that doesn't work anymore in any game, but they are there, and in theory you can build whatever you want that incorporate them into something new if you really want. And a lot of these games that crash actually have indie developers that might try to relaunch something or try to bring life into that again, because they were a fan of it before and they are probably a fan of it still.
There's a sentimental element to it too, right? Like I remember I used to play, Gunbound. I don't know if you know Gunbound, but it's a really old, I think it still exists now, but I used to play it more than 10 years ago. Like I was so addicted to it, and not now knowing that I have memories from that game, but I don't have anything that I can hold on to about that game. It would be something really great to have if I did. Imagine like Super Mario, if you bought it the first time and you still have access to it, it's something I think any gamer would really want.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, the oldest game, they still work. If you have the console and the game, you can still play it because they played locally on that machine. But it's not the same anymore. Everything is online. for good and for bad. I mean, you can do more cool stuff if you use a large server farm, but it also has the downside. So, like a MOBA, there are a few mobile game MOBAs that are coming that are incorporating NFTs or blockchain in some way. Is that something that you would play, or are you fully a PC gamer?
I'm not opposed to it. Like if I get into it and I like it, I'm not gonna hold back and say because it's a mobile game I don't like it. I'm not opposed to trying a game and then making that decision. But I think to judge a game before I even know what it's about, I feel that wouldn't be fair, because games take a lot of time to develop, and that there's a lot of hard work that went into building that game. And so if you try it out for the first time and then you don't like it, then that's okay, but so many people just comment because it's a mobile game they don't like it, because it's an NFT that's even worse. So I would say don't knock it until you try it, and that should be true across the board. Like don't easily dismiss something when you don't really know what it's about.
Yeah, and we can see, I mean, I'm the kind of person that do not play mobile games at all. I have downloaded a few games, I tried them, but I asked, no, it's not for me, at least not whatever I have tried so far. But if we take Diablo Immortal, the biggest launch of an RPG this year, I guess, for mobile and PC gamers. I think the first month they made $100 million in revenue on microtransactions, and nothing is any NFT, any blockchain related, so it's all in their game, and people throw in money and they can't get any money back out. So it's just money going in and going to the company that built the game. They are not getting anything back, and I've started to see videos where people start to regret all the money they put in. Obviously, there's people that put in tens of thousands of dollars to play that mobile game, and they think it's a good investment to have more fun. I guess they have a lot more money than me to think that $10,000 to have dollars into a game to play on your phone is an investment to have fun for a half a year. When do you think we will see a game like that? I mean, now, when do you think we can see games in that scale in blockchain and crypto? Because building a game like Diablo, you need the lore, you need the story, you need the art, you need the game developers. It's a big team costing a lot of money, and you need to have a vision that is all about gameplay and not all about earning money, which a lot of the blockchain games are.
I think it's gonna take a while. Like I can't speculate, but I do know that to build a game in that scale, you'd have to have funding already. Like you can't rely on pre-sales to make that happen. So if like a well-funded game studio comes in and decides, hey, I want to build something like this, and they get a lot of funding doing it, then I'd have more confidence in knowing that, okay, these guys, they know their deal, like they know what they're doing, and you can most definitely anticipate that what they're putting out would be something to look forward to. I mean, for Wax Studios, for example, that's Michael Rubinelli. Like Michael Rubinelli, before all of this, he worked on a lot of games for the past, not outing his age, but decades worth of game experience, and so he's bringing that into the table, and so his thinking would always be towards, let's build a great game that people would love. Whether or not people think that that's the next big thing, we leave it up to the players to decide that. But that's always been the intent. Like that's where they're leaning towards, and that's always going to shape all of the games that come out from Mac Studios. So Blockchain Brawlers, Music Mogul, like we're thinking about how to make it as fun and engaging as possible. But we understand that it's not going to be Diablo, it's not going to be Final Fantasy, it's not going to be to that scale, but that intent will always be apparent throughout all of the games that they're putting out.
Yeah, and let's just take this. Amazon create their first big MMORPG. New World is the big. It's a very funded. It's a massive launch, and very quickly people hate it. They just stopped playing it. Now a lot of people have started to play it again. They have fixed some issues. They have a few updates and everything, but they have a lot of funds. They are just building a game to be fun. They are not building in NFT aspects. They are not building in some play to earn. They are building a game to be fun, and they had a massive spike of users, and they stopped playing. And they have fun. They have a big team, and they struggle like grabbing attention in the gaming field because it's very competitive. So doing that with a small team is highly difficult.
That is very true, and games have to be constantly evolving to capture that audience. Like for, let's say, an MMORPG, like if you put a cap on it, level 50, and then majority of the players reach level 50, and there's no new updates after that, then you'd expect to see a huge fallout from that, because there's nothing new to do. There's nothing exciting to get into in that game anymore. And that's how a lot of games are. You build it to get that attention, and then you stop evolving, you stop putting out updates, and it's just as good as dead. You build the next best thing, and you enjoy that for a while, and it just falls off. So games like Dota 2, for example, like you're releasing new heroes, you're releasing new updates, the meta keeps changing, so there's something different. You have different, like Candy Crush, believe it or not.
The dopamine, you need something new.
Exactly. Like even a casual game like Candy Crush, you see the cap being raised, new challenges, new levels. And when you look at it, it's really similar to the other levels where you just kind of change it up. But because they're caring about continuity, and they're caring about updating the game and communicating to their players what they're working on, that's a huge factor right there. If your community sees that, like they're likely gonna stick around because they see that you're making that effort. But if you're a game that doesn't care about your community sentiment, like if you're a game that, you just build and you're not in tune with what's really needed, then what are you really building for? Like what is that going to be for when you have no audience to cater to?
Yeah, and that's very difficult because you need to cater to those that has progressed. You need to have some end gameplay that need to be evolving. It needs to happen. New things need to happen. But you also can't forget about the new players or those that are casual players. And that balance is very, very difficult. And we see that in these indie NFT clicker games. Those that get in early, they get more gameplay in the end. New users are often forgotten or taken advantage of, and there's no way in, and the project dies because the whole ecosystem lacks. So they design it to be something that goes up, and then there's nothing to do, and it only has one way to go. Yeah.
And like I said, there's going to be different games for everybody, and they're designing it a little bit differently from the rest. Like you're not gonna find that all of the games are exactly the same, and you just got to pick one that you like and play that game and be in that game. There's undoubtedly things that you're gonna not like about that game, or things that you think must change, but ultimately, if it's something that you enjoy, then you're not going to say at the end of the day, what a waste of my money, what a waste of my time. You enjoyed it. Like there's a reason why you kept playing that for hours and hours, and you don't realize that it's already morning and you're still playing. There's a reason for that. So
yeah, the best and the worst reason. So it's so much.
So
it's so
you
much
just
fun.
like you have a love-hate relationship with some games.
Yeah, the biggest game like that is Ark Survival Evolved, which is a survival game where the servers are online 24/7. Your base can get raided at any time, and then you lose all progress. And taming a dino can take 12 or 16 hours in real life, and then someone else comes and kills everything you farmed. That is like the most immersive game I ever played. Like you're in it, you have this high risk, high reward. But if you miss a day, if you don't go in and check things, and if you don't have people online to check your base and don't have a team to work with, you're doomed. I mean, we raided a base of a team that had over 6,000 hours on that server, on that base, and we removed everything they had. So after that, they have nothing. And that is very satisfying for someone that raids them. But that team, I mean, imagine putting 6,000 hours into building something and it's all gone. That is a love and hate relationship for sure. And it's beautiful.
In RPGs, I've always hated the pay to win element. Like you grind for weeks on weeks and hours on hours, and then on a PvP, somebody with like better armor is going to beat you when you know that this guy simply bought it for like $100, or there was really no effort spent. I kind of hated that, but I get it too.
Yeah, but it's awesome with games. Lately, I've been playing World of Warcraft again, which is another game
really?
like that. Yeah, but I only play like
Goodbye,
a half hour
life.
here or an hour there. I haven't played a lot. I wish I could, but I don't. It's so much fun.
I played Lost Ark when it first came out, and I really enjoyed the animation and the story when it did. But then, like after a while, it just got to a point where there's really nothing new. Yeah. So I kind of stopped. And I've also started playing some like Fall Guys. I'm not too good at it.
I've never tried it.
It's so fun. It's fun. Lewis from Neon Spaces, he's especially good at it. Like if you see him play, he's just gonna crush everyone.
Yeah, that's it's fun. Like the gaming world is very fun, and I'm very happy to see like more games are coming into the blockchain space, but also more games are coming from the blockchain space. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the coming 6 and 12 and 24 months. I mean, there's surely a lot of projects that are being built in the back that I don't know about. Perhaps someone else in the chat does, or someone who watches this in the future notice, oh, this is an awesome project, great team working, but we don't know about it yet. And I'm excited to learn about that in the future.
Yeah, me too. I'm just excited to see what future games will come out in the blockchain space. It's I'd give it maybe 5-10 years. It will be really, really fun. And I've always kind of been leaning towards the virtual, Ready Player One, Sword Art Online kind of world. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but
are you the person that likes the VR world and games like that? Well, VR.
I mean, I think the idea that you can escape reality and go to any world, infinite possibilities, it's so attractive to me. Like being able to do that when you can be anywhere and anywhere at the same time. You can be at your home and you'll be like in Mars doing your raids or something like that. That's fun. But above all, I like the social element to it, being able to meet different people and knowing that this player, your teammate, is from a different part of the world, like you're on different time zones, and just that idea that you can connect with people through games in a way that you couldn't have done like 5 years ago. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, I met a lot of good people through gaming. A bunch of friends that I still have from my teens are met through games, and friendships built stronger through games. I mean, I was at DreamHack this summer, was there visiting, and DreamHack, if someone don't know, is the world's biggest LAN where people come from all over the world with their computers. Lots of nerds, very welcoming, everyone accept everyone as they are. There are every type of person that you can find, and one thing they have in common is that they love computer games in one way or another. And I'm going there again this winter in Sweden, DreamHack Sweden. They have DreamHack all over the world now, but the Swedish one is the first ones and the biggest one still, I think. So very fun. And perhaps I will do some wax marketing there. We will see. I've did that before. Like usually when you go to LAN, you can build like a wooden thing above your monitors that you can put your computer on top because you don't have a lot of space. And I did that for DreamHack 2 years ago, where I spray painted the wax logo on the back, big wax logo on the back of that.
That's so cool. What was your reaction? Were they like, ew, blockchain? Or
no, I don't know if people realized what it was, but it was fun. But okay, so the Wax Ambassador program, let's take us back there a little bit. We have a question in the chat where Flaxhead said, how do I apply to become an ambassador and what's the progress? We talked about it earlier, but let's get it back. If someone has been here or later learn about this, how do I get into this community? How do I be a part of getting all this curated information?
So there's many different ways, right? So I do some outreach as well. Like I try to look for content creators and influencers, and then I reach out to them. I also take some recommendations from existing Wax ambassadors. Some of them, they would recommend this content creator that we, it would be good to be a part of the program. But for the others, you can always send us an email at marketing@wax.io. And you just let us know that you're applying to be an ambassador, and we'll send you, a list of information that you were to provide, and then we let you know. So you can. Everyone's welcome to try to join the program if they're interested to learn more.
And in case they have applied, they have sent this email, they have reached out, they haven't gotten anything back, is that because you hate them, or is that's some other reason you haven't got to it yet? What's the deal there?
Truth be told, we get a lot of emails a day about a lot of different things, and it takes a while to filter through each and every email. And it's for now, it's just me kind of going through all of the emails by myself. So imagine some of the existing ambassadors, I didn't respond to them until like 2 weeks later or a month later. Like it really varies. But
it's like when you reached out to me.
Yeah. But I think it was the other way around. You took your time to respond. Yep.
Yeah.
But it would take anything between 2 to 4 weeks. If you've reached out to us from several months ago, then it would be good to send an email again and say, hey, I applied some time ago, and then if I see it, I'm going to go ahead and respond. If you didn't get a response, it just means that we didn't see it, and maybe you should try again. It's not because we're ignoring you and we don't want you in the program. Like we're always going to be transparent and respond to you if we're able to see that email.
So you won't ignore them, you will actually give them a response.
Yes.
So
if anything, it's just to explain what the program is about. Anders, you need to do better reading your emails.
my emails are a bunch of things, and mostly if someone says, hey, we want you to create content on our project, I just archive that mail. Or if they say, hey, do you want to be a partnership, I hit archive that mail. If I haven't heard about that project before. So I get a lot of these. Some days I get a lot of them. I think
popular guy. I
think what happens is that they have this email list of all different people creating content on blockchain, and they just sell them, or they have a list where the people get, and they just spam out email. A bunch of them are malware, and a bunch of them are actually serious, and I archive them anyway. So email is not the best way to reach me, for sure. It's but you learned that when you wrote on Telegram. I was pretty fast as responding, but it took a while.
I noticed that Telegram is the fastest way to get a hold of you, but I'm also on I'm on Twitter, I'm on Telegram, I guess Twitter is my most visible one. It's Larcey P.
He's linked below. You can find it.
And but yeah, email is definitely the best way, because that way I can track when it was sent and my response. So social, that's good for if you want something instant. But yeah, if I didn't reach out to you though, don't think if you're, because I do get some questions about, hey, I've been a content creator for a while now, why am I not in the program? So you can always reach out if you wanted to be in the program. There's way too many content creators out there, and I'm not going to be able to find each and every one of you. So if you know about the program, then it's always a good idea to reach out, if only to find more information about it, or if you want to be a part of it, then doors always open.
Wax Scams writes, why am I not on the program? Probably because...
Well, you didn't ask. You didn't ask.
No, but I don't agree with everything Wax Scams write on Twitter. Let's put it like that. Some of the things that account writes is accurate and good. Some are lacking investigation or proof, and are claims before enough information is shared, and I don't like that.
I mean, I've seen Wax Scams. I think what he's doing has the best intentions. He's looking out for the community, and that can only be good. But it's also dangerous to do, especially when there's no accountability. If we don't know who it is that we're talking to, and if you find that what was written wasn't really how it was meant to be portrayed, or if it's not really truthful, then there has to be some accountability to that, else the damage has already been done. But I do have a lot of respect for detectives, I would say, people who take it a step further and look out for the community in that way, because people do deserve to know if there's some questionable things that are going on in the chain.
Yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of good, a bunch of the investigation is good, where they actually go and figure out the company behind the product, and they see, hey, they launched this and that sucked and it's a rug pull, and then they launch it again and again. They just have a new face on it, and that information is great to get out and share. So that's awesome. But yeah, there needs to be a lot of accountability, and people can't just be quiet. So it's good that people are outspoken, but we shouldn't buy everything. We should take that information and digest it and take in more information and say, hey, this has some merit, or I don't know. There is some information missing here, and I don't agree, and I think that's good. We need to be able to adapt.
Yeah, people should trust their own judgment. You know, you make informed choices. If there are outlets that help you collect that information, then it's good. But at the end of the day, you're making that decision. It's your investment. It's your choice whether or not to get into a project. But having those outlets certainly help, but don't let it be your sole source for all of the decision making that you do.
Teria says that my moose in the background looks like a naked male stripper. I agree. It's why I have it here. Duh. No, that's a good catch though.
That was like Sasquatch.
I cut the head off for the view today, so that's good. No, but okay. So we have been chatting here for a long time. Actually, it was a very nice conversation, and I think we can continue at another date and wrap this up. So, is there anything that you want to feel like, hey, I haven't gotten this out, or you want something to repeat? How do people reach out to you and the Wax Ambassador program?
Like I do a lot of social listening too, so I've seen some of the feedback that's gone out, and know that any really constructive feedback we take to heart, and changes are being made internally for the improvement of the program in general. Pretty soon it's gonna come out with a landing page, like you said, where all of the information is going to be made available. I understand that it's not like we're not going to be able to please everybody with the program, but for us internally, if we're helping promote Wax, and if we're doing on our part the best that we can to make the information available to as many people as possible, then that's really at the end of it what it's about. Like we make it so that we're open, but also we're assisting in ways that we can, just helping the program overall. And so if there's anything that we can do to change, like you can always send that feedback. I'm open to discussions, as I have been with existing ambassadors. So if you feel like you have something to say and feedback to provide that is extremely useful to us, then feel free to reach out. I'll set some time and we'll have that conversation.
That's good. And what one person in the ambassador program does not represent the ambassador program or everyone else. That's also good to keep in mind.
Yes,
it is a collective of made for communication, so that's awesome. But yeah, I think that was great, and people can find your Twitter below, and all the Wax information is everywhere on this YouTube channel, so I think people can find it. So that's awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for having a chat and being open about everything here. And thanks everyone for watching, being part of this, and having a good one.
Thank you.
Circling, hollow hands, this man stronger